Hello. So we have a few people in here. Um, Mic's on, camera's on. Great, great, great. I'll give some more people a little bit of time to get in. Let's see. Hope everyone's super excited to learn about financial aid. What do you think? Should we wait till 3:05? Maybe some people want to try out the Q&A chat. Looks like Colette is saying hello. Love it. How about everyone message where they are participating from? See if we have a lot of Iowans. Ooh, new posts. Let's see. Oh no, just Colette again. Great. All right, let's get going. I will go ahead, and if anyone comes in later, they can just join us there. Cool. Let's see. Slideshow, present from by the beginning. Okay, I've got that going. Get it going here. Great. All right, so we're gonna go over paying for college. That's usually what we go over, but specifically how the financial aid Workday tasks work. So how that looks when you're coming in. Okay, and the specific tasks that we'd like to go over that we find important for folks as they are coming into Iowa State University and financial aid are adding friends and family. So once your student starts, and I think maybe you've already experienced it a little bit, they're adults and they need to give permissions for you to be able to have access to their information. So you want to get that set up at least for financial aid and also probably for the U bill. So we'll go over that. FAFSA verification action items. We want to make sure you know where to find those and how to upload those documents not everyone is completing the FAFSA and not everyone is getting chosen for verification. But if you are, you need to know how to do this so you can get financial aid. Student refunds are also important. So if you have more aid than you need to give to the university, you can get that money back. How to report private scholarships, that's very important, and how to sign up for the deferred billing plan. So friends and family can be, when they're invited to view this information, you'll get your own login to view Workday. Your student will be able to give you specific permissions to view certain things. So you'll be able to view those from your personal login. And so federal regulations are what are in place and that we have to follow that prevent us from sharing students' personal information without giving permission. So here's a look in Workday of how you would go about doing that. So the first thing that you would do, so we have it a little blocked off, we can't show student information here, but when your student is on their profile, their picture will be here and it'll have this actions and it says here, it's a little blurry, but summary, personal, academics, contact, history, and action items and holds. So they'll go to personal and then friends and family, like we're talking about, and then they'll be able to add someone to friends and family. So what it looks like when they are adding, they put in the relationship type. So that has different types there, but then to get specific, you can do relationship. Adding them to third-party user. If you want to add any of these other things, you can, preferred languages, country, then first name, last name, and then you click OK. So at that point, you've created a third-party person for your profile. But in order to get certain permissions, you have to do this extra step. So someone might have third-party access, but they still need to do the permissions. So from there, we really zoomed in here. It'll take you back to the first page where we were. So back here, and then you're going to click on Actions. So once you're in Actions, you're going to have the option to manage permissions for my third party. And once you get into there, you'll have the opportunity to go through different things to grant permission. So again, to talk to us, that's financial aid package. To talk to accounts receivable, where you pay your bill, it's UBill. There's another one that allows you to get notifications if you have any past due balance. That's super helpful so you don't get caught off guard. A few other things are there too. All right, moving on to FAFSA verification items. FAFSA applications may be randomly chosen for verification by the federal government. So we proceed from there. So a FAFSA application might be chosen for conflicting information. So sometimes it's random and sometimes there is a reason for it being chosen. So we need some documentation to verify you and your FAFSA. So what it would look like on Workday. So on Workday, students have their tasks. I hope you can see my pointer here, but on the top right where it has a little bell, that's where their tasks are. And the little tray over here is where their inbox is. So they can see that information there. So because this is an action item, it is a task. So they click on that, it will pull up all of their items. So they might see other things that are not for our office here, but anything that they have there, they should be completing. So they are all up to date and you don't want any tasks waiting for you. So specifically for verification, sometimes we'll need a tax return from 2 years prior because the FAFSA uses 2 years prior information. So we just might need to verify that. So this task right here is showing that a student had your FAFSA shows an untaxed IRA distribution. So you must provide a hand-signed copy of your 2023 tax return, including schedules 1 and 3 if filed. It really lays it out for you. I would take time to make sure you're reading the description or overview there. It usually gives all the information that you need. So if you do have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out. And then you have the ability here, your student can upload this information. So regarding this action item, it says that the tax return needs to be hand signed. In this scenario, it doesn't need to be like a wet signature. We don't need the actual fresh document. There are some action items that do require that. So I would just always pay attention to the bolded letters as well. But yeah, you can just upload right here, then we would receive it and our verification team will review it. If they find any issues with it, if you don't sign it, you forget to do that, what they'll do is they are able to just send back the task and they'll tell you exactly what was off. Unfortunately, you did not sign this. Please return a signed tax return, something like that. And then it'll start all over again where the student will have a task that they can click on and see that. All right, student refunds, way more fun than verification. So anytime university balance reaches zero, if a student gets more financial aid than that, any credit balance, that would be refunded to the student primarily. There are times if you were to get a federal Parent Plus loan, you can choose if you want the refund to go to the student or to the parent, but the student is the quickest way because they can set up direct deposit. So we strongly encourage students to link their bank account on Workday so they can get their refund quicker than sending a check in the mail. And it's very way to safely do that. So even though with direct deposit, it can be a lot quicker, accounts receivable does process this twice a week, but quickly twice a week. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So parents are unable to set up the refund direct deposit, but students are. So they would need to log in from their student account. You cannot log in for this from your parent account. So in Workday, they'll go, if you remember earlier, we showed this kind of blue section on the left side of their Workday. So they would go there and click Financials Hub. And when they see their U-bill, they'll see these other, I call them apps here. But down below, there is for the student refunds, you'll click on suggested links, and then it will have this drop down of other things that a student might need. So student refund will send you over here. I just do want to point out, we want to talk about student refund, but you can see some other important things here, like make a payment. That's pretty important. Sign up for a payment plan, or print my 1098-T. That will come up when you do taxes every year. You'll need your 1098-T for tax purposes. So, but in this scenario where you're clicking student refunds, you will your student will enter this information. So confirm, edit, or enter your phone number to confirm identity and receive text alerts. Then you'll, after entering your number, you'll receive an authorization code. So enter the code and save. And then the final steps would be, you have these other options here, reloadable debit card, paper check. So you can see that they should be received within 3 to 14 business days. And then, but the bank account is the quickest way. So 1 to 2 business day from the process date. So you can click that and it'll ask for your bank account number and routing number to make that possible for you to do. Then you'll sign out when done. Okay, reporting private scholarships. This is an important thing to do as soon as you are able, because we need to be prepared to see what scholarships or financial aid a student is receiving. And we can see what might be coming in to help pay their university bill. So it also is important because students are only able to receive financial aid in the form of scholarships, be it private or institutional grants or federal grants, federal loans or private loans, all of those things that make up financial aid. Students are only able to receive those up to their cost of attendance. Cost of attendance is more than what's owed to the university. It includes tuition and fees, but it also includes estimates for housing, food, medical expenses, travel expenses, personal expenses, all of that. So students can receive financial aid up to their cost of attendance. So if a student is receiving a private loan or private scholarship that puts them over cost of attendance, we might need to reduce other forms of aid. We do reduce from the least attractive. It's what I usually say, least attractive form of aid. So it would be, private loan would go first and then a unsubsidized loan. So we don't want to take away the nice types of free aid if possible. So it is very important to report this as soon as possible. So if we do need to make any changes, you can plan in advance. We don't want anything to be a surprise if possible. So, yeah. So in order to report private scholarships in the apps area, like I said, we call these things apps, do My Financial Aid, and it'll pop up with other options here, view financial aid, accept or decline wards. I do want to point out here, all free money, like scholarships and grants, are automatically accepted. So really, when it's talking about accept or decline wards, you're talking about loans. And then report private scholarships. So you click that to report the private scholarship. And here we'll get into the details. So you'll enter the name of the scholarship donor. This is very helpful for us. If a student is receiving scholarships from multiple donors, we can kind of prep for which check will be coming in, and we can see that. And then provide the total scholarship amount for the academic year. As long as we split private scholarships between the fall and spring semester. So to avoid people going over that cost of attendance that we talked about before, maybe for the fall or for the spring, we split it unless it is explicitly reported that it should be a single term scholarship. So, yeah. So then you enter in here again. You do choose here, but generally what is done is the fall and spring. Then you submit. Help your scholarship donor make things easier for us with reporting and make things easier for them. Provide them with your student ID number or your student's student ID number. And it's helpful to put that ID number in the memo, or if they send the scholarship check with a form or other type of information, that they can put that ID number there. Request that they make the check to Iowa State University, and then the student won't need to endorse the check. So it's helpful if they just make the check to Iowa State University with the student's ID and the memo. We can get all that information. If it is made out to the student, or if it is made out to Iowa State and the student, they will need to endorse their check on the back of their check saying payable to Iowa State University. And oftentimes we get that in the mail and we keep that in our office, and they'll need to come in to sign that or endorse it. So in order to avoid that extra step for your student, it would be helpful if you ask the scholarship provider to make it out to Iowa State University and include the student's ID number somewhere. And provide the mailing address to your scholarship donor. That is on our website. If you forget it, you can just look up private scholarships, Iowa State, but the proper mailing address would be Office of Financial Aid, 0280 Beardshire Hall, Ames, Iowa, 50011-2028. This is the page that I just spoke about. That here's how you get here. You go to our financial aid at .iastate.edu, and then types of aid, and then scholarships. So you can see types of aid happen right here, types of aid, scholarships, and then private outside scholarships. You can see this. So this is actually, I apologize for that. This is the proper address to send it, but has all this information here if you forget everything that was said today. You go to the private outside scholarships and it will tell you the information you need to know. Okay, on to deferred billing. So the university bill, uh, you hear it as U bill, but when students are coming in, I want to always say the full words before abbreviating them. So you have those, so you know what people are saying when they say U bill. That will be available for the fall, August 1st. So students are billed each semester. So for the fall semester, it's August 1st. And then the first fall, the fall payment is due in full August 20th, unless you sign up for the deferred payment plan. So at that point, if you sign up for the deferred payment plan, it is a $20 fee, and that is per semester. And it would help you split that bill into 3 different payments. So a third would be due August 20th, the next third September 20th, and the last third October 20th. So that'll help there. And then the bill for the spring semester will come out January 1st. And you can do this whole thing all over again. So this is another thing that can only be set up with the student Workday, not the parent Workday. So in Financials Hub, where we went before to the suggested links and we saw the sign up for the payment plan, it's all right there. And because the bill comes out each semester, you sign up for it each semester. So sign up for the payment plan. You won't be doing fall 24, but this is what we had access to. You'll be doing fall 25. And you'll be shown a summary of your U-bill charges as of that day. So if you look at it right now, it's not going to show anything because the bill is not ready. It will show August 1st. So I would wait. Yep, that's the question we have right now. So you sign up for that after the bill is added. And so then it will show what your estimated 3 installment payments are based on your current charges and anticipated financial aid. So right now it's not going to show you anything really helpful until we get that bill. And it shows here, make sure you remember that there is a plan fee. So we have that there. And then you'll submit. And here it says when the payments are due. That I went through a lot quicker than I imagined. I'm Sarah Early, financial aid advisor, and Colette has been in the chat, also a financial aid advisor and financial literacy advisor. You can contact us at our main email inbox. It's a great thing to have in your back pocket because any of our financial aid staff can answer questions from there. So you can make sure that your question gets to the subject matter expert. They can see that. We've got a phone number there too. We've got great staff answering our phones, helping you with any questions you might have. And again, our address, if you need to send, if you prefer to send any documents there instead of uploading them, to each their own, or to send a check or to stop by and say hi to us. We love taking drop-in appointments as well. So those are the many ways that you can contact us. Do you have any questions? I guess we definitely have time for those. I can share my screen again with the slideshow, and we can go over something on the screen if you would like. Thank you, Stephen Epp, for participating in the Q&A. That's very fun. Oh, new post. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Sure, I would love to discuss that. I don't know if it's necessarily a part of this presentation, but we have time. So For the federal student loans, it's a much easier decision. The federal student loans are great. You don't need a co-signer. They have the really flexible repayment plans. But for the parent loans, it really is up to family choice. Sorry, I don't have a direct answer for you, but I do recommend that you look at our preferred private loan lender list. And if Colette, if you could post that to their, sorry to ask you to do something, but while I'm talking here, if you could post that on their comment. But we do keep a list of our preferred private loan lenders on our website. These are private loan lenders that we work with often. So that's a really good resource. You can use our comparison tool there. But yes, when it comes to parent loans, it really is up to your financial situation, what is best for you.
Can you hear
All
me?
right,
Can
cool.
I speak to that?
Sure.
Yeah, well, maybe, let's see. Can I put my camera on here? I don't have my camera set up very well, or my lighting very, very good in my office, but I work a lot with private loans, so I tend to go over this a lot in my orientation meetings and when I talk to parents. So my take on Parent Plus versus private are a couple of things. So the first differentiator is, are parents willing and able to borrow? So not every student has a parent who's willing and able to borrow. And with the Parent Plus loan, it's specifically for parent or step parent only. The student has no responsibility to pay that loan back. It's 100% the responsibility of the parent. So that's the first differentiator. Again, parents who are in this meeting may be willing and able to help in that way, but some parents just feel like they want their kid to have skin in the game and they want they want the student to be the borrower. So that's one differentiator. The other one that I think is important is that Parent Plus, when you get a Parent Plus loan, every parent who takes out that loan for this year will pay the exact same interest rate. So for 25-26, the interest rate on a Parent Plus loan is 8.9%, and everyone who gets that loan pays that same amount. And there's a 4.2% origination fee. So before you even get the money, if you borrow $1,000, you're paying $42 that they're keeping back in an origination fee. The private lenders don't charge that origination fee. The other thing about a private lender is everyone's going to pay a different rate. And if you look at the link to our private lenders, you'll see a range for each one. So every private lender will give you, before you apply, this is the range that we expect to offer borrowers, and the range can be anywhere from 4% to 15 or 16%. So there's a huge range, whereas Parent Plus stays at the same rate for everyone. So if you are a parent who's willing to borrow and you have a real strong credit score and a strong total credit profile, then you may be able to get a lower rate with a private lender than you would with the Parent Plus loan. On the other hand, if your credit score is not stellar and you don't have the overall strongest credit profile right this minute, then Parent Plus is not quite as strict in approving people. And so Parent Plus allows more parents to borrow who would not be approved by a private lender. So until with the Parent Plus, I say, you know what you're getting. Everybody's getting the same thing. You don't have to apply to know what the rate and the origination fee is. But with the private lender, you won't know exactly what you're going to be offered unless you apply. And I think that's good in terms of understanding a loan product, a good example to set for your students, that we're going to seek out the best loan for us. We're going to understand the terms, being the interest rate, the origination fee, and Sarah also referenced the repayment options. Some people have felt like the federal government will be more lenient and more flexible with repayment than a private lender may be. Some people have had federal loans forgiven. In the current landscape, it doesn't seem like loan forgiveness will be expanded uh, in the near future. Um, so that's my take. With the Parent Plus loan, everyone gets the same thing and you know what you're getting. With a private loan, there's a much broader range. So that would be my advice is maybe before you commit, understand what you could get from a private lender before you make that choice.
Okay, well,
Stephen is asking, there's a couple other questions I see here. So Stephen or Stefan is asking, should we be applying for loans right now? Yes, please do. Whether you choose Parent Plus or a private loan, you should be applying now. Did you already answer that, Sarah?
yep.
Okay, or
Some
wait.
people, I did, and some people do like to wait. Yeah, you can apply now or you can wait. It's all up to family choice. And some people wait until they can see what they're set to owe. And sometimes that's a time where it would be helpful to sign up for the deferred payment plan. So while you're figuring the loan out, you know that you'll have a smaller amount to pay for that first payment. I think
Oh,
otherwise we're not really. Oh, one more, Corey. Um, the benefit might be that the parent might have more established credit, so they might get a better deal. If a student is taking out a private loan, they're going to need a co-signer. So that's something that you can do. It just really comes down to family choice, what people want to do. But as Colette mentioned, there's no legal obligation for a student to repay a loan in a parent's name. If it's in your name, you're going to repay it. I know some folks think, I can get a better deal with my credit as opposed to the students, but that's just something that you might want to think about being a co-signer for if you want the student to repay it. But it really is, it's all down to family choice.
Mohedin, if I'm pronouncing this right, I don't want to skip over this question. I'm not sure that I understand the regular teaching assistant position.
I wonder if you saw the hire in the apps when we were looking at, I think it was accept or decline awards. It had hire. That is full of job opportunities on campus. So maybe we're talking about looking at the hire job board. Not sure yet. You have time to correct us, but yeah, the university has almost 8,000 student jobs, and a student does not necessarily need to be work study eligible until to be eligible to be a student employee.
Corey asks, is it recommended that my daughter get a laptop? That would be above and beyond COA, correct? I think, your student will need some kind of computer access. I do think that most students have a laptop. You can check out that kind of equipment from the library, but I think that it's common for a student to have their own laptop that they take with them to class. If you have borrowed, so as Sarah said, your cost of attendance includes an allowance for tuition and fees, an allowance for room and board, and an allowance for personal expenses. So for many students, especially in their first year, that personal expenses part may be enough to fund a computer, but if you have used up every last dollar, if you've borrowed every dollar that's available to you within the original cost of attendance, and you feel like that was not enough for us to buy a computer for our student, then yes, you can fill out a form that's a cost of attendance adjustment, but you would have to buy the computer first and provide the receipt, and then we would increase the cost of attendance basically to allow you to reimburse yourself. So it's not required that, it's not necessarily true that the cost of a computer would have to be above and beyond the cost of attendance, but if you've utilized your full financial aid and already borrowed as much as you can, and that wasn't enough for a computer, yes, you can increase your cost of attendance to allow for the purchase of a computer.
So
And that
another line of cost of attendance, like we mentioned, the line items for cost of attendance. One is school supplies. So that could possibly fall into that slight increase. But there is the cost of attendance adjustment request. But I don't want to necessarily say it's that's totally going to be granted. There is still a request there, and the request can be for things more than a laptop. You know, if it's we have a non-traditional student who needs help paying for childcare, that's one of the things. Um, if if they have extra travel expenses, that could be on there. Our form is on our website, so you can just search cost of attendance adjustment and you can see that there. All right. Well, we did good work today. If you did not ask a question or have a question and you think of one later, like I said, feel free to give us a call or reach out by email. We're happy to help. Colette, any parting words for us all?
Well, cyclones.
All
And
right.
thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye bye.